Welcome to Bible Logos. I am Tamiko Greeley, your broadcast host. I'm here today to bring you part 2 of the message, How to Make $1 Out of 15 Cents. Please remember to like and share this message on social media with your friends and family. All right, here we go with part 2 of How to Make $1 Out of 15 Cents.
I'm about to open up for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you blessings that you don't even have room enough to receive. Then I'm going to go beyond that and rebuke devourers for your sake. You know those thieves that come to steal from you. You know that devil that tries to make you run out of money before the end of the month. You know the things that happen that break down. The car breaks down, the refrigerator breaks down, the washing machine breaks down. All those types of things that are devices that the enemy uses to steal from you. God said, I'm going to rebuke that devourer for your sake. I'm not going to allow your vine to cast its fruit before the time in the field. What does that mean? That means the labor, the work, the effort, it won't be in vain. Sometimes, do you know how sometimes you're working and you're trying to figure out, what am I doing all this work for? Where's the result of it? God said that's the devourer who I'm rebuking on your sake. But I'm going to make him stop. I'm going to make him behave if you'll just obey me with respect to my tithe. Come on, somebody, give God a praise for his promises and give him a praise for his word. And that requires trust. That requires trust. That requires us to believe God and expect him to be faithful to do what he said he would do. Then last week I talked about some parallelisms between Adam's sin in the garden with the sin of anyone who does not tithe. And we talked about 4 different parallelisms, one being managerial responsibility or stewardship. We saw that with Adam, and we see that with us today. Number 2, reservation of something, which amounts to a test of our faith and obedience. God gave Adam authority over all that he had created, and there was one thing that he said that he reserved and said, but don't mess with that. God gives us managerial authority of that which passes through our hands. But there's one thing that he says, don't mess with that, which is the tithe. The third thing that we noticed as a parallelism was there being a consequence for disobedience. In Adam's case, they were kicked out of the garden. In our case, the Bible says you're cursed with a curse. And we talked about it ain't just cursed, but being cursed with the curse. And then the fourth thing that we learned last week was there is with respect to parallelisms, is that there is a temptation to justify the lack of faith and sin of disobedience. But we need to call it what it is and recognize it for what it is. It's a lack of faith. It's a lack of faith in God. It's a lack of trust of his word, and it's a lack of obedience because he says to do it. Come on, somebody, let's give God praise for his word. Let's give him praise for his word. So today I want to talk about how to make $1 out of 15 cents using God's prescription. Now, Alex was watching television the other day, and I just happened to pass by because something caught my attention. He was watching this Netflix documentary, which was called Explained, the Racial Wealth Gap. And the part that caught my attention, it said that the median in America today, the median white household's wealth, which amounts to their savings plus assets minus debt, is $171,000. That's the median. What does the median mean for those mathematical geniuses? That's the number that separates half of the population, the top half of the population from the bottom half of the population. So half of all white households in America make more than $171,000, and half of all white households in America make less than $171,000. Now, this same documentary did a comparison and said with respect to the black household's wealth, the median, which equals the savings plus assets minus debt, is $17,600. So half of all blacks, African Americans in this country, half of them make either $17,600 or greater. And then the other half, there she is hiding from us, Sister Betty. And then the other half makes $17,600 or less. Half. Now, when you look at that, that gap is so great, so vast, that in the natural, there's no way to catch up. In the natural, there's no way to make up that difference. Because if you understand principles of sowing and reaping, if somebody has a head start over you and they continue to sow, they will continue to reap. So if they have more seed than you, they will always be able to sow more than you. And consequently, they will always be able to reap more than you. Okay? Now, but how many of you know that even though in the natural, there's no way to catch up, God has a way to equalize stuff? How many of you know he can do that? But it requires faith and obedience to his word. We have to put aside the excuses, recognize our failure to walk in obedience and say, Lord, I've been disobedient up to this point, but I'm ready to do it right now. And I'm ready to do it your way now. And I'm ready to trust you now. If I'm going to be saved, why can't I trust him? If I'm going to do all of this, I might as well go ahead and trust him. Huh? How am I going to give my life to a Lord that I can't trust? That's a whole nother message. And I better not go there right now. But in the natural, we find ourselves robbing Peter to pay Paul. Isn't that what they say? You find yourself robbing Peter to pay Paul. You find yourself running out of money before the end of the month and trying to figure out how to make this little bit that I have stretch and last me. So you eat real well for the first 3 weeks of the month, and the fourth week you go on a undelegated fast. We find ourselves working 2 and 3 jobs trying to, to pay bills. And none of that is the will of God for his people.
Welcome back. If you like what you've heard so far, tune in tomorrow for part 3 of the message, How to Make $1 Out of 15 Cents. Please remember to like and share this message with your friends and family. I am Tamiko Greeley, and I want you to remember that the sower sows the word, and therefore it is with the same measure you meet that it shall be measured unto you again.